Burley Sew.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Burley Sew. I'm your host Purified, and today we're going to learn how to thread the Brother 1034D Serger. Today we're going to be using spools of thread instead of cones of thread. So you're going to want to make sure you take the cone adapters off the back and then grab your spool covers to put those on instead. Next, you're going to want to slide the access panel so that you have access. And this machine needs to be threaded in a certain order. So here's the order. You're going to want to start with 1, which is the upper looper, then 2, your lower looper, and then 3, the right inside needle, and 4, the left outside needle. Now let's take a closer look as we thread each part, starting with number 1, the upper looper. You can see I've got the thread spool on with the thread cover, and all 4 parts that you're going to thread are going to have the same beginning 4 steps. You're going to take your thread off the spool, put it through the guide in the tree, make sure that the tree's raised up all the way, and then get ready to put it through the next thread guide, which is number 2 here. And then the next step that you're going to want to do is push the tension wheel release so that the thread can fall through it. So as you're pulling your thread down to number 4 and 5 here, you're going to want to make sure that you push that tension release button right there to disengage the tension discs so that the thread sits in there properly. And then we can move on to number 5, and then I'll give you a closer look here at step 6. And this is the path it's going to travel. And you can see on your machine that it's all color-coded. So we're going down to 5, and now it directs us to go to 6. You're not going to catch both of these. You're just going to catch the one with the green dot on top. And you can see here that you just clip it right underneath that red end there. And we'll give you another angle at it so you can see it has the green dot. That's the only one that you want to be under. So this next part, make sure you're on the right side of the guide for the lower looper as you go to catch your number 7 step. And this is where you're going to get out your trusty tweezers that came with the machine. Because it's going to have to get down in here, and we're going to have to thread a very small little hole, and I'll give you a close-up of it right here. So the tweezers are the easiest thing to use. Now that we've got our tweezers and our thread, I recommend cutting the end of the thread so that it's a nice clean cut. You can even get it wet a little bit if you want, just a little tad, the old thread lick. And you should have much of a problem getting it through that upper looper. I like to remove the foot. I haven't removed that yet, so if you want to take the foot off, it's a little bit easier to take the thread and run it underneath the presser foot to the direction that you want to go. And you can either worry about that now, or you can worry about that later on once you have all the thread in. So now let's jump to step 2, which is threading the lower looper, and you're going to follow the first 4 steps for threading this piece. So put your thread on, get your thread cap cover on if that's what you're doing, and then we'll take a look at it from the front here in a second, but you can see I got it through guide 2, and then make sure that you release the tension as you come down to go to number 4 and number 5. And you can see that hook there for number 5. And then this part is where you're going to want to catch both of these blue dots. So make sure that you get underneath both of them. And then you're going to hit the guide number 8. And then number 9 is this slide. Now I already have mine slidden out. You just take that white handle, you slide it out to your right. You'll see that the arrows are not aligned at this point because I've already slid it out. And you're going to take your thread and you're going to catch it along the little catch at the very end. You can see how I've got that in there. It's just a little channel that it runs through. And now we'll push the guide in, and that holds it in place so that it doesn't interfere while you're sewing. And now we're going to thread the lower looper, as you can see right there. Personally, I think the lower looper is the hardest out of all 4 things that you need to thread. You can see I'm struggling here. I should probably cut the end of the string and give it the lick that I was talking about earlier. Sorry for the focus there, but my hand was in the way. But you'll get it. Just stick with it. So now that we've got that one threaded, let's go ahead and thread the right or the inside needle. And we're going to do that by following the same 4 beginning steps as you did previously with the upper and the lower looper. Once again, don't forget to release the tension discs. And this one's just more or less like threading an actual sewing machine. If you have a Brother sewing machine, it follows the channels here. So we're going to go down, then we're going to go up through 5, then we're going to come down and catch the guide that's by the needle, and then we're going to thread it. So we're going to go ahead and show you that here. You can see I brought it through step 5, and now I've caught that little finger there for the thread, and we'll get out our trusty tweezers, and you can see the hole right there on the right needle, and just guide the thread right through. And it should be, I think it's, like I said, it's a little bit easier probably than the lower looper, not as easy as the upper looper. Keep our threads straight here. And 4 is basically the same thing. So we'll put our thread on and our cover, and then go through steps 1 through 4 as we did previously. Hit that guide and that guide. We're going to come down through the tension discs and then up and around number 5 like we previously did with threading the right needle. And then you're going to want to make sure you catch the guide right here where you can see the right needle thread is going through. And once you got it behind that, you can see the left needle there, and note that the left needle is a little higher than the right needle, and it should be. And we'll just pop our thread right in there, and we'll be ready to go here in a second. So what you want to do now, if you haven't been doing it throughout the process, is make sure all your thread is coming off the back left of the machine. And then you can start chaining it by hand. I like to give it the wheel a turn or 2 by hand just to get the chain started. And then you can go ahead and turn on the machine and start chaining off with the foot pedal. You're not pulling here, you're just kind of guiding, keeping the thread taut so that it can form the chain. And now we'll turn on the machine. And that's basically it. Now you've threaded the Brother 1034D serger. I would like to make one last note. Depending upon what type of stitch you're doing, if you're doing, say, a narrow rolled edge and you're just using the inside right needle, you would just thread the right needle and you wouldn't insert the left. But I'll have other videos on the different types of stitches coming up, so make sure you check back on the channel. That's it for the video, folks. I hope it helped. If you liked the video, please subscribe, share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is Purified, and you've been watching Burley Sew.